Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy. Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always spooky world of anime.
And my alter ego joins the cult.
I'm Dylan Kreider.
I'm Remington Chase.
Remington, welcome to Spoopy Season, which technically, this is our second episode of Spooky Season, but this is the first episode going up because Sean's a little bitch boy and got sick.
Yeah, Sean, he got a terrible case of gonorrhea, ultra gonorrhea, actually.
So far, gonorrhea, he's practically undead.
Yeah, it's crazy, actually. The doctor who saw him said, "My God, I don't even understand how it got this bad." So he's getting treated for that.
Jeez. And while Sean gets, as many penicillin shots as a human being can take, last week, well, technically next week, you watched a particular show involving the undead.
Yes.
That made me think of something similar related to undead that is also related to anime. So, Remington, are you familiar with a man by the name of Robert Cummings?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I feel like I am. Am I?
You might be a bit more familiar with his stage name, Rob Zombie.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. I see.
So, Bobbert Zombert is actually a huge fucking weeb, especially back in the day when it was really niche. Like, back in 1995, I think, or 1859, if you trust Amazon. It's weird. He wrote the introduction for the English translation of a manga called 3x3 Eyes. By the way, go listen to the Animates episode on 3x3 Eyes. And he's even used footage of High School of the Dead in some of his concerts.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Rob Zombie is a
What the hell?
He's very appreciative of art in all of its forms. He's even made a handful of animated movies, but none of that really compares to his most weeby moment.
I knew nothing of this side. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Okay, here we go.
So are you a fan of Roberto Zamboni's music?
I'm like relatively neutral.
Okay.
I don't really have strong feelings one way or another.
I definitely lean positive. I mean, as we're recording, I'm wearing a beat to shit white zombie shirt that I stole from my mom like 20 years ago.
I tend to appreciate and admire like the creative vision and sheer audacity of the man.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when he was just getting started. He was all over the fucking place.
And so even when some of like a song or a movie may not land, it's usually at least interesting.
Yeah. And the same year that he wrote the introduction for 3x3 Eyes, he recorded a song called Supercharger Heaven. Does that name ring a bell?
I don't believe so, no.
It's the one where he, during the chorus, he goes, devil man, like 100 fucking times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know that bit. I think that's the only bit I know.
Did you know that very line is a reference to a 1972 manga called Devilman? And on the art for the single, he used Devilman straight from the manga?
I never knew he was such a weeb.
It is impressive the depths of weebery that you can just find in random pop culture figures who make some of the worst horror films you've ever seen, as well as some okay ones.
Yeah.
So, Devilman is actually about a young man named Akira Fudo who merges with a demon to battle the corruptions of society. And at the time, it was incredibly popular, and even somewhat recently, had an adaptation on Netflix called Devilman Crybaby.
But of course, obviously.
Yeah, naturally. But we're not watching Devilman Crybaby or any adaptation of Devilman.
Okay.
So the reason I brought that up is just to showcase how easily I get distracted while researching, which made getting my journalism certificates a pain in the ass.
Oh, shit.
This I originally came upon this while I was researching the history of ecchi manga for a potential shonen flop crossover when one particular name just kept popping up. The name Go Nagai. We haven't covered anything by Go Nagai yet, to my knowledge, but the guy's a fucking pioneer.
Okay.
He is credited with the rise of the magical girl, post-apocalyptic, and giant robot genres of manga.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Hideaki Anno even listed him as an inspiration for Evangelion.
Oh my god.
Dude's a fucking legend. And he wrote like Devilman, Mazinger Z, and Cutie Honey. The manga and anime landscape would not be the same without him.
All right, that's pretty crazy.
He also pioneered the ecchi genre.
Oh no. But because it's spooky season, we're going to be focused on the more horror elements, right, Dylan?
We'll see. We'll see if you consider this horror.
Oh, fuck.
In 1968, Go Nagai actually began working on his first successful manga. Initially, he was just doing little comic strips. His first successful manga was entitled Harenshi Gakuen, which translates in English to Shameless School.
Oh, no.
By many accounts, this is the first ecchi manga, and it took nearly 30 years for it to receive an anime adaptation.
This is a history lesson I didn't want.
Despite the gap between his first ecchi manga and the anime adaptation, Go Nagai still managed to claim the accolade of having the first ecchi anime, when in 1973 they adapted Cutie Honey, which is a magical girl anime with many ecchi elements.
Fucking hell.
I could have you watch Cutie Honey. Honestly, I could. But given how old that anime is, I figured we should save that for the inevitable Animates crossover. So instead, I figured it would be, very interesting to have you watch the 1996 OVA Heisei Harenshi Gakuen, which is an adaptation of Go Nagai's very first ecchi manga. I mean, we don't really touch on the true history of anime. But first, I wanted to make sure that I could actually find a subbed copy of this 28-year-old OVA.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Mackenzie from Animates came in fucking clutch and found me a link. I then clicked through it just around to make sure the subs were there and it wasn't too graphic. I shit you not when I say that every single frame that I landed on had someone naked, including several scenes involving oral sex.
What the fuck?
So, naturally, that was too much for anime out of context to cover. That was too much. That was just too fucking much.
Yeah, that's hentai.
It is, Mao considers it hentai, but everywhere else it is considered ecchi. It's fucking hentai. So I decided against that. But I had already spent hours researching and written over 1,000 words worth of notes.
Oh my god.
So I decided to do what I could to save the notes that I had. And then I had an idea. Going back to Devilman, that was commissioned by Toei from Go Nagai back in 1972 because Toei wanted a toned-down version of one of his earlier works, a 1971 manga entitled Demon Lord Dante.
Okay.
Back when Go Nagai was writing Harenshi Gakuen, he was obsessed with an illustrated copy of Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy.
Okay.
And he found the character of Lucifer to be incredibly likable.
Hey man, all right, we're getting more religious. This is a domain which I can be interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, come on, have you seen the fucking statues of Lucifer?
Oh, they're wild.
They're so good. I love them. I would love to just find a 3D scan of one of them and print it out full scale inside my house. Oh god, that would be such a bitchin' idea. I actually found a copy of one of them, but
lots of them are real horny.
They wanted $100 for it. This was the one of the most horny Lucifer statues. When the two brothers made their own versions. I found a scan of it. It was really fucking cool. They want $100 just for the file for me to print. I said no on that. But hey, if anyone wants to send it to me. Anyway, Go Nagai was obsessed, specifically with this idea of Lucifer entombed in ice.
Okay.
He set out writing a story where a young man frees a devil from ice and possesses his body, and where the line between good and evil might be a bit more muddy than you would think.
Okay, see, now we're getting into back into a more interesting area.
So, Remington, we are going to be watching Demon Lord Dante, I believe from 2002.
Holy shit, that's quite old.
This was produced 30 years after it was originally written. So there was plenty of time for them to refine the ideas, especially because in the time between when the original Demon Lord Dante was written and this released, there were several different versions of the manga that came out, including several that weren't written by Go Nagai. So whether or not this is the culmination of all of the best ideas, or perhaps an attempt to water down a very dark tale of good and evil, we're going to find out.
Hell yeah.
So let's go watch some Demon Lord Dante.
Animates is a retro anime review comedy podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie.
And I'm your host, Lindsay.
Join us every Tuesday as we bring you iconic classics,
Absolute train wrecks,
and fantastic hidden gems.
Check us out at animates.com
and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
Good is a very subjective term. Anyways, on to the tentacle battle.
That's going to be a controversial opinion.
Nothing about her moves, but her boobs will just jiggle.
Time for a mini game.
Oh no. I hate you. This is one of those things where I'm like, maybe we shouldn't have free speech. Why?
So stupid.
How dare you?
Sailor Moon S the move.
Yeah! I just punched my closet wall. Well, I guess that's the end of this episode.
And we are back after watching 5 episodes of Demon Lord Dante. And Remington, does this fill a little Judeo-Christian niche in your heart? Or are you feeling a bit vacant?
Yeah, there's still a big hole waiting to be filled, which is also what I put on my Tinder profile. And I'll be honest, there's lots of confusion, lots of uncertainty.
It's pretty clear. I mean, the story's about a young man who, is apparently a demon. What's confusing about that?
Sure. So Dylan, I don't know if you had this experience. I feel like it's a pretty common experience. But there would be those shows that would only show up, like, especially early in the morning or late at night, the shows you wouldn't normally watch, right? When you were real young. But occasionally you would, and they might captivate you, and you'd be like, ooh, but you'd only get bits and pieces thrown at you, right? In a very ramshackle order, very infrequently, so you're only getting like a feel for the overall story. Maybe sometimes you're able to watch a few episodes in a row, but even that would be a rare occurrence. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for me, that was Lupin the Third and Home Movies, if you remember that animated show.
Oh, yeah. For me, one of those was Inuyasha. Shamefully, I know. But I feel like that's just, it's less of a common experience now, of course, where there's just streaming all the time. But yeah, back in the old days of cable, that's how it would go. And I feel such a similar experience watching Demon Lord Dante, except I'm not missing any episodes. I feel like I am. I feel like I am getting a random hodgepodge of episodes, right? I just watched the first 5, and yet it doesn't feel like I watched the first 5 episodes in a row. It just doesn't compute in my brain.
You feel like you're missing maybe some needed context for the characters or the world?
Mildly so. Yes. Let's jump into it. We start with a giant demon being summoned from ice, but actually that's just a dream. With Dante. But the main character Ryo. Fuck.
Ryu, I think it's Ryu.
Sure, Ryu, he's woken up by his sister, who he really wants to fuck. Or she wants to fuck him more so. I don't...
They do not explicitly say that the siblings want to fuck.
It's not the biggest deal, but it's also not subtle. It's not like the point of the whole series, but it's a prominent part, right? It's the side plot of every episode. There's not an episode that goes by where there's not some weird sexual or romantic tension between them. And also, there's the whole, apparently, he is a demon. He was born a demon. He already a demon. Unrelated to Demon Lord Dante, we are told he is a demon.
Now, do you think he's actually a demon, or is it really just some code for mental illness?
No, I'm sorry. That's me after watching the show. I think you're confused. And she has some sort of like godly divinity in her, right? And so light and dark, there's probably going to be either a merging or battle between them at some point. I don't know. It's very strangely structured. But they really emphasize her heavenly side in like the intro and shit. So I suspect they're doing something.
Oh man, if there's going to be a merger, then that'll really go off with the sexual tension between the two.
Oh fuck. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. But yeah, Ryu, really, he's just a normal kid with huge sideburns, and he's woken up. Apparently, he's had an ongoing dream, not the dream he just had. That's an unrelated dream. The dream it opened with, not his ongoing one. His ongoing one is a dream of the Stone Age, where he is a demon murdering cavemen.
As one frequently has, yes. That's one of those common dreams that everyone has, you know. Sometimes you're flying, sometimes you're in school naked, sometimes all your teeth fall out, sometimes you are eating cavemen.
Also, I just really want to emphasize the wild creative decision. It opens up from him waking up to a demon dream, which is not the chronic demon dream that he immediately says he always has.
Yes, he had two, as far as I think this was two different demon dreams, one right after the other, but he acknowledges both of them.
One of them is chronic, one of them just happened and reminded him of the other dream he always has, I guess.
Yeah, he has some sleep issues, I think about on your tier.
Yeah. There's some murder victims on the news. He's a bit of a slacker, so he's gifted a motorcycle to go outside sometimes, I guess. He goes for a ride, gets briefly distracted, gets run off the road, he falls down, he's saved, he's protected by something, though he's unsure what, and now he's in the hospital. And then he has a vision or a daydream of a woman being chased by a demon, and the demon might be him. He goes to the spot he fell off on his motorcycle, and dude, I genuinely don't know if it's a friend, a brother. This guy is associated with his dad.
They go to college together.
Sure, they look like siblings. Then later on, those two, they find a girl's corpse, and her heart was ripped out, and it seemed like it was done by an animal, and there was animal-human DNA found on the body. Then later, Ryu goes on a ride at night to find the victim. He is accosted by these flaming symbols from the spirits that knock him off his bike, and then a bunch of demons come, and then they surround him, and then they disappear, and then he wakes up the next day. So that's episode 1.
Oh, you forgot to mention that his bike was actually put back into pristine order, and they even hung his helmet on the handlebars. Those are some very nice demons, aren't they?
Very, very considerate demons. Extremely. That's what demons are known for, being extremely considerate. And like, okay. I know that something I've criticized many times on this podcast is the really shitty exposition where you're like, yes, let me tell you all about the nature of this world. You'd have, like, in this case, a monologue going, from the dawn of time, there have been two sides, God and his army versus the devil and his demons, right? And you would go into just like a lore dump, and it would be like, okay, I get it, blah, 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 blah. And I don't like that. That would be such an improvement to whatever the fuck this is. Because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the hell's happening. And then I might think, well, that's fine. I have to watch 4 more episodes. Maybe I will start to get it. The answer is no. Not at all. Episode 2. All right. How will we open this? Okay, we've easy to follow up, right? Oh, what the fuck were those demons? What's going on? Maybe he doubts himself. No, we open up on a man in Europe who finds the Holy Grail and uses his magic demonic powers to steal the Holy Grail. We also see some cultists raise the dead in Cairo. A guy kills some cops, and then Ryu has a vision of Sayori, his sister, in trouble, and then he goes to the school and he sees the girls, including his sister, getting changed. And then the
Also,
Holy Grail guy.
why were they getting changed just out in the open? They weren't in a locker room.
They were not in a
just
locker
in the
room.
middle of the gymnasium.
Yeah. That's fine. Don't worry about that because we're skipping past that largely. Then Holy Grail guy, he shows up in Japan and immediately gets sniped from some people on a helicopter, but his body is we still don't know who the fuck this is. We have no idea what the fuck is going on with this. His body is stolen.
Now, Remington, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. We do know at least his name. They mention it on a newscast after all of the people guarding the Holy Grail were found dead. They said his name was Dr. Zabub.
Good old Dr. Zabub. The subtlety is off the charts. The subtlety where we really, oh my god, it's blatant where it doesn't need to be.
You get one guess as to what demon he is.
Yeah, I can't even say it's like subtle when it doesn't need to be, because it's not that it's ever really subtle. It's just either it's blatant or it doesn't say shit. So his body is stolen. Oh no, it turns out that Ryu's dad, by the way, leads a council of priests who are against the Satanists and the cultists. The cultists resurrect Mr. Zabub, and then they plan to sacrifice Sayori, the sister. She's immediately kidnapped. Her friend has a brain wiped. The dad, using his priestly council, sends a Christian army. I'm not being ironic here. They're military. They have guns. One of them has a sword, but the rest have guns. They then storm the gates. The cultists try to summon Demon Lord Dante, but they're interrupted by this Christian army, where then Ryu casually rides in. He's there as well right now. He casually rides in on his motorcycle. It's like, hey sis, I'm here to save ya. She's naked and bloody from having a chicken cut out onto her naked chest. And
good Tuesday evening.
Yeah, the villains see that Ryu is here to save the day, and they're just like, all right, and they walk away. That's episode 2!
Now, Remington, did you recognize the member of Gon's army who had the sword?
Yeah, it was the fucking friend. It's the colleague, the rando who's kind of important, I guess, but he hasn't done anything else since then. They just show him a lot.
Hey, he has a sword. That's all that he needs. He has one eye and a sword. That automatically makes him, an iconic character, right?
Oh, I should also note at this point, the animation is so bad. At times, it's genuinely PowerPoint levels. And that is not an exaggeration.
So, by the way, I watched a few episodes ahead of you. There's one of my favorite points of the animation is an individual is in a helicopter, and you see through the helicopter towards like a demon in the background, and then the helicopter's spinning out of control, but you see it from this kind of inside the helicopter view. All that you really see is you could tell they just spun the animation cell.
Oh yeah, they do that all the time, where they're just like, hey, how do we animate this? Well, we take the one image we have and we rotate or scale it, you see. They do that all the fucking time. It's one of the worst animated shows I have ever seen. It is wild. And here's the crazy thing. It's clear that there's some vision to it, because they do put effort into like the design for a lot of the demons to make them weird and distinct and just little freaks, right? But then they'll just have these crazy demons be in like one of two poses at a time and hardly change ever. And it's like, maybe, just maybe, this premise of this great holy war that spans multiple countries, it has government, religion, and the everyman as demons versus angels versus people and armies. All of this, right? Maybe that was a little too ambitious for the fucking $16 budget they had to do the entire show. Just maybe.
Oh yeah, the art was like, I actually really enjoyed the art itself, but the animation corners were cut, let's say.
God, so many. Let's go into episode 3. Episode 3 has one of the wildest openings I have seen. So as of now, we don't have a great idea. We don't have a great grasp of what's going on. Like, okay, I'm following the general events. I don't really understand, like, the whys or any depth to any of the characters. It's just these big, broad strokes that are rapidly being painted in front of me. Episode 3 decides, all right, I understand what you need. Let's go to the aquarium. Oh, our protagonists are at the aquarium? No. The satanic cultists, they're at the aquarium. What, they're not quite at the aquarium. Instead of having a meeting, they are using their demonic powers to imprint their faces onto fish in a public aquarium so that they can sort of talk shop, right? And talk about how there's a traitor in their midst. We don't know who the fuck they are, but apparently there's a traitorous spy. We also hear they're just talking, they're like, oh yeah, Ryu is a demon and his sister is a god. And then they disappear and Beelzebub, he waves goodbye to a kid as Bubbles. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what's happening. Why did they need to meet as fish? Why was that? Why? And they can be noticed because they were observed. It's not subtle. It's just, hey, it's Fish Friday, guys. We can't do a regular meeting. We promise. We promise it'd be Fish Friday. And they're like, Jerry does love Fish Friday. All right, we'll meet his fish. Like, what's going on?
I think they just used that scene as a way to show off that, oh, these demons have more power than just generic demon shit. They can also be Bubbles.
It's so weird. Okay, so we just learned a little bit about them, I guess. Ryu is invited to climb with the mountaineering club because one of them is being sort of mind controlled to invite Ryu. He goes there on the hike, and there's a sudden snowstorm, a blizzard. They get into the cabin, and Ryu breaks the window and leaves into the blizzard, where he then falls into an ice cave. He's now in the Himalayas.
Oh, he doesn't just fall into an ice cave. He sees a cliff and he jumps.
He jumps into an ice cave, and now he's in the Himalayas. In the ice cave, he talks to Dante. Dante was Judas, decided on a name change, just felt like it, and is like, hey, you should remove God's sealing sword. Ryu is like, sounds great, big demon. He breaks the ice, he frees Dante, then Dante's like, I'm gonna fucking eat you. Okay. Then he goes and he does eat him, and meanwhile Sayori is just back at the cabin in Japan, is like, he's in the Himalayas. And what?
They kind of build on this psychic connection between the two of them that I don't know if in like the last 4 or so episodes they explain.
Well, it's not just a psychic connection between them, because it's like, while they can see, they've both seen when the other one is in danger one time, Ryu can also just see when any girl is in danger sometimes. Like, that's not just his sister.
He doesn't necessarily have Captain Super White Knight extreme power, but it is more, he can always tell when demons are up to some bullshit, is kind of how they later elaborate on it. He has some weird psychic demon powers.
Because, once again, he, before any of this Demon Lord Dante business, is referred to as a demon.
Yes.
So, episode 4, they're searching for Ryu, where'd he go? The dad, he goes, and he just casually speaks to God, real easy to do for him. And God is like, hey, Demon Lord Dante has been freed, you better buckle the fuck up. Meanwhile, in random castle, a clown kidnaps a princess with parlor tricks and flies away in the hand of a harpy.
Yes.
I'm not gonna clarify what the fuck I just said. I want you to know that that's an accurate description. All right,
that is spot on, and that's about all the information you get for a scene and a half.
It's not clarified, like, what's going on for a minute, and even when it's clarified, it's not clarified why it happened the way it did. But then, hey guys, you remember when we talked about how there was a traitor among the satanic cultists, right? Which we'd only know one of them. We know Beelzebub. We don't know literally any of the others right now. And so, like, stories like this where you're like, there's a spy, a traitor amongst us, those work if you're like, wow, all of these people I know, but one of them is lying. Oh man, who's not who they say they are? And then, like, when the reveal happens, you're like, no, this person, I thought I knew them. And it can be a great reveal. This is like, I don't know who any of these people are. Well, great news. They found him. They accuse him. I'll give a little exposition dump about him. He explains how he was threatened with hell, and so he deserted Dante, who was his best friend.
He's also a furry, by the way.
He's also a furry. And then they just sort of, he just leaves. You think it might be like Beelzebub is accusing because he's going to kill him. Doesn't happen. Then they try to sacrifice the princess that they kidnapped. That was their clown and harpy. They try to sacrifice the princess to summon Dante. Again, of course, we know Dante is already summoned. Dante already here. These satanic cultists, I don't know what their deal is. Beelzebub doesn't know what the fuck's going on either, I guess. They do succeed in sacrificing the princess, but are also attacked by God's army again, where they then go into a magic circle, which is just some chalk on the ground, and the bullets cannot penetrate the magic circle. Meanwhile, Dante, he has arisen, so he's wreaking havoc on the city. The Satanists think that they were the ones who summoned him, which is, I guess, reasonable. They did the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You might think that there's a moment of like dramatic irony where it's like, oh, we're not at all responsible for this. No, it's like, well, we did the sacrifice and here's Dante, so cool.
Yeah, I guess everything worked out for us in the end.
The Japanese army fights back, and a Satanist speaks to Dante/Ryu from a helicopter, and Ryu cries and is like, oh no, I'm a demon now. But he gets over it real quick, as we see in episode 5. In episode 5, he goes from being like, oh god, what am I, to being like, yeah, fuck humans, demon supremacy, y'all. It's very quick. Also, I in episode 4, I do like that when they're accusing the traitor, and how the traitor feels bad because Dante was always so loyal and such a reliable friend. But Dante is just Judas, who is the least loyal guy. That is his one character trait in Dante's Inferno. Like, that betrayal is the whole ball game, dude. So it's real weird that they're like, so reliable. So loyal, that guy.
So loyal, Judas Iscariot. I mean, hey, there's a very particular song that when Dante said my name was Judas, there's a song a friend introduced me to. It's about if Jesus and Judas were lovers, and that kind of just played through my head, and I was thinking, I wonder if that takes place in this universe.
Oh, man. So, don't worry, that traitor will be relevant. We learn his name is Xenon. I don't think we were told his name before episode 5. We had a couple scenes with him, but episode 5 is the first time where it's like, oh shit, we should probably name him.
I think they do name him when he's being called out for being the traitor in episode 4, but
maybe
I think that's the first time. And then, he's got the next episode, so.
Yeah. So episode 5, Ryu, as I said, very quickly accepts that he's a demon, and it's like demon supremacy. Then Xenon, in full demon form, shows up and confronts Dante and tries to convert Dante to Christianity. And then they fight, and Dante wins. Xenon gives some cryptic biblical messages. Meanwhile, a Satanist explains to the others, like, hey, Dante is a bit different. There's Ryu in there. We all know Ryu. We're all very well acquainted with this whole family.
I mean, they do have dossiers on them because they knew from the beginning he was a demon.
Yeah. And that his sister is a god, and that their dad is running the Jesus camp.
And also a world-renowned brain surgeon.
Yes, all just on the side. The UN plans against the demons, but they have some secret Satanists ruining their response. Ryu, he returns home. God advises Dad to use demons to fight demons. And the good demons to fight the bad demons are sealed in Siberia. And that's the end of episode 5. I'm losing my mind.
I can say one sentence that'll make it even worse for you, Rem.
Don't you fucking dare.
In episode 6, it is revealed that Ryu was actually adopted when his parents died in a car crash.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck. He's gonna fuck his sister. His sister and him are Adam and Eve. Oh, no. That's what they're gonna do. There was a shot that, like, gave me that vibes. I think it was in the outro, could have been in the intro. It was one of those. Of, like, them holding hands naked going into the light. And I was like, oh, God, I don't, like, that has some certain vibes. Oh, God, if they're Adam and Eve, if you start a series as brother and sister, and then you're actually, like, these are the first literal fuckers. These people are meant to be slotted together. Oh my God. This show is insane. It's absolutely insane. It has a certain moon logic to it, right? I feel like I stumbled in to a crazy person's personal project, right? Where it's like, it's like those people who spend their entire lifetime cultivating this one hyper-specific thing. And the end product isn't good, but it's unique because it's all them. It is just them, and they've put so much thought and effort into it, but also it's a fucking mess. And at no point did they ever think of meaningful quality correction. At no point did they ever think of really an audience. And that's what we've stumbled upon, right? It's like, this wasn't meant for public consumption.
This was a very private, personal project. Now, do you think that when Toei commissioned the toned-down version that became Devilman, do you think they addressed some of this and made it a bit more palatable for the general public?
I hope they didn't keep the incest, but
I'm fairly certain that they are not Adam and Eve. As far as I can tell, they are not. I'm seeing mechs? I don't know. I did a quick search.
I'm gonna Google.
I did, and it's not helping.
All right, I'm on the Wikipedia.
I'm seeing snake people and mechs. I've got no idea what the fuck is going on. I do know God is apparently an anarcho-primitivist, though.
I'm gonna spoil it for everybody, which is fine because I don't think anybody has watched this, and I don't think anybody will watch this. Bad news, Dylan.
Oh no!
I fucking nailed it. Nailed it. And apparently, and this is probably the third woman they've been focusing on. Apparently there's Medusa, who sort of serves as the serpent.
Yes, and Medusa is a much bigger role in the manga.
Which, crazy to make that Medusa, but okay. But yeah, so, I nailed it. The siblings are, in fact, Adam and Eve, ladies and gentlemen. What a fucking mess. What the fuck? All right. So I'm just on the Wikipedia now, right? I'm just on the Wikipedia now. Apparently, one of the big things is that God is actually the baddie, right?
Yeah.
But also, he's not. The demons are very bad. Like, you can't be like, oh, the demons massacring people. Yeah, they're the victims in this. Like, what are you talking about?
I think this is approached from a bit more of a morally gray standpoint, because the demons are more evil on an individual level, whereas God is just as a system evil.
Why? Okay, it can be like, hey, man, I understand, because it seems like God essentially was an abusive dad to some demons. But I feel like that's not a great excuse. Like, hey, dude, I get you have an abusive dad. Maybe don't kill people, though. Maybe that is not the right direction to go in any way.
You know, funny enough, that's a meeting I had with my assistant principal back when I was in high school.
Jesus Christ. This is a fucking mess. This show, there is a vision there, clearly, right?
Yeah.
And man,
absolutely.
They shat the bed. This is not a great execution of anything. Once again, there's some interesting ideas, and everything else is actively terrible.
I kind of enjoyed the aspect of the storytelling where they were just kind of throwing you in blind to this clearly defined world, and you just kind of had to pick up on the hints. But yeah, they just started fucking with it and making it really weird, like the bubbles.
Well, and nothing really follows from anything else. Like the order and structure of it all, at times it feels arbitrary and almost random. Like sometimes you're like, oh yes, this leads to that. Other times it's like, wait, what the fuck are we doing right here? Why are we spending time here? And that would be on the macro level and also on the micro level, right? Like it would be scene to scene, but it would also be, all right, here's the cultist doing all of this, and now let's have 3 seconds of the sister waking up. All right, back to the intense cult stuff. And it's like, what the fuck was that? What was that moment? What? Why'd you interrupt the flow?
You know, apparently this had similar thing going on to the currently showing in theaters film Megalopolis.
I've not heard great things about it.
From what I've heard, the editing is very similar to this. There's a vision behind it, but also it doesn't catch most people.
Yeah, this is just so bad. It's so bad. The budget of this show was like a small pack of Doritos. It's not existent. I would anybody listening who's like, I don't know, maybe I'll check it out. Just don't do it.
Honestly, if you think it sounds what the fuck enough, and you have a high tolerance for older anime and manga, then, but that's a very specific crowd,
but the problem
especially
isn't
nowadays.
just that it's old. It's not just like, oh, it's old. It's nonsensical. It just doesn't add up.
I wonder what would happen. Like, I want to give a story like Logan's Run and give it to Go Nagai and see what comes out of it at this point.
I feel like, you know what this vaguely reminds me of?
Let's hear it.
There's a very good chance that you have never heard of this.
Probably. I mean, I'd never heard of Dokapon Kingdom until I played it with you.
Well, which is pretty obscure. And this, I don't know its relative obscurity compared to. I've never heard people talk about it. I just saw one Let's Play of it that was funny. Deadly Premonition.
Oh, I fucking love Deadly Premonition.
And it just how it's a wild ride, right? This is...
Yeah, it's Twin Peaks the video game.
You know, I don't know if I would say that.
It's about as fucking wild. And you can tell, like, all of the influences are there. It wears its heart on its sleeve.
Well, sure. The influence is definitely there.
It does also have a lot of weird fucking shit going on, like the whole tree business. But
just the method of storytelling, it feels a bit like Deadly Premonition, or even like maybe a David Cage game.
Oh, God.
Like, it's in that ballpark where occasionally you're just like, what are we doing here?
I think you just did a huge disservice to Deadly Premonition by comparing it to anything from David Cage.
I don't think I did. I am surprised you're such a defender of Deadly Premonition. I think it
like
has merit.
Cheese. I like weird janky cheese.
I think it has, some merit, and it's, if anything, impressive in a lot that it does. But also, it's a fucking mess. And so, yeah, those are the two comparisons I would make for this game. For this show, rather.
So, based on your review, I take it you would definitely be interested if we came back and finished Demon Lord Dante sometime, right?
For the love of God, no. Look, the only time I would ever think of bringing this back is to show it to Sean. Honestly, it wouldn't make the worst April Fool's episode on that motherfucker.
Or you could hit him with what we were initially going to cover this week until I decided against it with Shameless School.
Yeah, that is an alternative as well.
By the way, I'm going to throw you for a bit more of a trip. The final episode, the English title for the final episode is Consummation.
No, don't do it.
But do you think this would be better if it had more boy love elements in it?
Look, there's the way it would be better is if it were just a completely different show. All right,
So you don't agree that the remake manga called Shin Maodante,
my God.
where it just involved new characters and BL elements, and that's it?
Yeah, I think my critiques are a bit broader reaching than just not enough boy love. I think
Shame,
that there's
shame.
a little bit more to it than that.
I think that about does it then.
Oh, hey, thanks for tuning in. We got twitch.tv, anime out of context. You can leave reviews, which is super dope. Or you can go to our Patreon, where you can get all sorts of perks, such as me reading out your name. And so, I would like to thank all of our Bland Bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are telling us to free them from their ice prison and then devouring us moments after we do. And on that list we have Xanax, Yandere Neko, Wonka Gave My Willie the Everlasting Knob Slobber, Wonka Domain Expansion Inflation Porn, Wolfire 56, Where's Our DBZ Review, you ginger fuck? When's the Bible Out of Context on Lot and His Daughters? Relevant here, you know?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wes Kane, welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, the show where we at AOC are proud members of the SOS Brigade, watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed, Utah #1, Unhinged Prax, Totally Good, Titan CNH, the Susanator, the Flying Spaghetti Monster, the Depp Wonka is my sleep paralysis demon, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Reno Zoro as my navigator, the Capybara thinks about her glorious blue-eyed king nonstop, his eyes are beautiful, fuck you. Look, Gojo, he's got weird eyes. Where do you stand on the Gojo eye?
They look
debate?
so out of place. They do not match the art style. Those are some fucking yaoi eyes.
Yes, yeah, like, oh my god. I'm so happy that I have you on my side. Turban, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom. Spoonman ate out Sean's ass and was disappointed with how many dingleberries he got that don't taste like actual berries. Sean wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Sean Chorem Kaguya-sama dubbed in My Life Is Yours. Sean's weekly Judy Ops jar update. I'm concerned about how many gas station boner pills it took to reach the neck. Jesus Christ. Sean thinks Conception is better than Dokapon Kingdom. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he took a spooky sex toy to the orphanage for some fun. Jesus Christ. Sean could do these nuts. Seraphim the Shark plushie. Ross Palmer. Rhiannon Williams. Remington used the Deer Crackers of Liberation. Remington was right. Rem uses the Drums of Liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem hit rock bottom, is still on top of Sean. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Regulatrion, Raptor King. Pro tips out of context, the pellet with the poison and the flagon with the dragon, the vessel with the pencil, it's the brew that it's true. Professor Fox, Pockwell Musico. Onichi-chi 10 out of 10 family show. My favorite dinosaur is Triceratops. Mitsuka magnetized herself to the rebar on the side of this building and is now stuck here like a dumbass gargoyle. Mikeka Severnierto, making fake mile accounts so I can rate Forest Fairy 5, 10 out of 10. Macaroni Uchiha, Lucky Star's the King of Moe, Link Joe Girl, Leonard 98, Kirito's Mega Schlong in Sean's Big Hole, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jax, Jamhands, Jake Dent, I'm the original guy that made you say cunt every week, that other guy's just a pretender. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I will be on episode 341. I lost my cheese virginity in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's the first time you had cheese? I feel like not many people have cheese virginity.
Maybe that's the first time they fucked cheese.
Oh, maybe it's the first time they
Swiss.
Please do clarify on cheese virginity. Was it for your first time eating or fucking cheese in Kenosha? I can't believe I made an account for this. Hey, Sean, want some fuck? Hey, gosh, Sean, paint some shapes on your face, and there you have Hisoka. Glenn Michael Dolan, Fern the guy learning guitar by watching anime. Farmer Weeb is glad that Anime Out of Context is the proud sponsor of birth control, even though half the hosts don't need it. Fantine, Erica McCorkle,
Jesus.
Diana Madrid, Drapixian Worshipper, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story. Correction, Rem has a sexy Lopunny dressed as Wonka. Cheese Monkey, Chair the God supports Rem in the dark times. Cat girls are best girls, so give me them cute little paws. Cameron, rock hard for Jew dudes, and I said that's disgusting, so I'm making a call-out post on my twitter.com. Blake Star, Bento Kato, been a while since I've changed my name on here, but I got a third 4.0, can't believe it, I'm also changing my major from funeral. Batman couldn't hate fuck that information out of me. AJ Tunnels, Aisha Gucci, a moe piece of trash. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. What are they going to get this week, Dylan?
They're going to get a demon combined with a random fetish.
All right. We have Willy Wonka's Wonky Willy.
You are getting Ammon with algonasia, which is apparently pain.
Oh,
It's different from
umbricide.
masochism because it is pain to an erogenous zone.
Oh, I see. Umbricide.
You are getting ball mixed with armpit fetish.
That mouse girl.
You're getting a cambion into bondage.
So cursed. Tails gives up and continues to tell his story.
You get Dagon with cannibalism.
Spoonman the aristocrat.
You get Icehet mixed with dacrophilia, which is a fetish involving crying.
Silent secondary.
You get Goth, who has a diaper fetish.
Sean, if you cosplay Ahsoka, then can I be your Gon?
You get a hag combined with gynophilia.
Sean should show Rem exactly 6 episodes of Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant. It would be a wild episode.
You've got Krun mixed with hematolognia, which is blood.
Scourge, best $20 spent, LMAO.
You've got a lamia with an impregnation fetish.
So fucking cursed, dude. Sammy K loves the feel of Rusty Spoonman against her salad fingers.
You've got a minotaur with lactophilia, which is
Roast-
breast milk.
Roscop.
You've got Nalia with masochism.
Nightshade Blade is done gushing over magical girls.
You've got an Oni with a navel fetish.
Miguel Delion.
You've got Pazuzu with oculonictus, which is the act of licking eyes.
I summon the ultimate Exodia.
You've got Palumon with picarism, which is piercing the flesh of another person, most commonly by stabbing or cutting with a sharp object.
Diddy Wonka wants syrup on his chalky bar.
You've got Samael with pyrophilia.
Krautskirk.
You've got a Tengu with saurophilia, which is soiling or dirtying others.
Crimson Reapers just because of the sides.
You've got Vepper with stigmatophilia, which is body piercing specifically.
Carver 271.
You've got Zagan with telephone scatologia, which is obscene phone calls. It is not necessarily
okay,
related
alright.
to...
You're not shitting
feces.
through a phone, Freddy
No.
Krueger style?
No. Oh, God. I'm your boyfriend now.
Bloodcell, the one of many that rushes to Rem's lower half when he thinks about Gene Wilder's candy cane stashed in his pocket.
You've got Yakan with toucherism, which is touching an unsuspecting person with the hand.
Beethoven 1201.
You've got Sabnok with toxophilia, which is apparently archery?
Pokemon is not a Monster of the Week show. It's a Monster of 3 Weeks show.
You've got a Murmur with xenophilia, foreign people's cultures or customs.
Anime Mashup of the Week, a certain scientific part-timer.
You've got Lucifer with voyeurism.
Animated Z.
You've got a Cocood with plushophilia, which is stuffed toys.
And every day that Raven comes to visit.
You've got Grigori with narratophilia, which is obscene words.
Allfather is writing BuzzFeed quizzes and wants suggestions on what they should be.
You've got, oh dear, I'm going to pronounce this one wrong, Zovatis with catapranophilia, which is a fetish involving mirrors.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Dylan, as Joey Wheeler, will give them a biblical character, and I will share a 100% true fact about said biblical character. We begin with, Sean thinks humanity has declined, might be better suited to my taste, and will show me the anime next week.
You're gonna get lot.
Totally, fun fact about him that's 100% true, man, he really doesn't know who he raised. He's both an asshole and a victim. Next, we got Rowdy-O.
You're getting Joseph.
The real true fact about Joseph is that he's one of the funniest guys in the fucking Bible. Oh my god, the way he taunts his brothers. Oh my god. Red needs to watch Humanity Has Declined, if not just for the loaf of bread committing suicide.
You're getting Saul.
Fun fact about Saul, he loves sucking toes. Next we got Rare Kumiko has decided to show the anime Humanity Has Declined instead of the Monogatari series.
They're getting Elisha.
Elisha, the fun fact, different than Elijah.
Also, really into bears and not the gay kind.
Well, maybe the gay kind, I don't know. Maybe
You know what?
both. Maybe Sean will show Rem Humania's decline instead of the Monogatari series Chicken Corpses and Ave Maria.
You're getting Nabal Palasser.
And the real true fun fact about him is he fucked Adam before Eve.
Fucking really?
Yeah, of course. These are 100% true facts.
Sure, hell yeah.
I'm a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listen to 100% Eat Rare Kumiko.
You're getting Kyrus.
Kyrus, 100% true fact about Kyrus is that he is trapped in the big hole. Next, we got, hi, Sean. Zoid's New Century is better than any Gundam.
You're getting Zebedee.
The fun fact about Zebedee is it's an auctioneer's favorite Bible character. And last but not least, we got, Sean, you move me like epilepsy. Do you like the way I smack your ass? Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
You're getting Jesus fucking Christ.
And true fact about Jesus is that was Sean Rollins' sexual awakening. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Thank you all for listening. And as always, don't fuck your sister, even if she turns out to not be your sister and is in fact the biblical Eve.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.